Welcome to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. I'm your host, Nikki C., all the way from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I have a very special guest today. Actually, I think I say that all the time. All my guests are special in my communities, connecting and making just some amazing things happen in this world today. So I'm super excited. I have Adam Latin, and he is the founder of the Clearest U. He's an empowerment and personal communications coach. He has been working with individuals, couples, and families for over 20 years. He believes that it is essential to have an accurate awareness of ourselves and others. He supports his clients with a specific language and systems designed around how they actually function. So without further ado, let me get Adam on, and he's actually and all the way from Peru. Hello, Adam. How are
Yep,
you?
I am good. I'm good. I am in Peru currently. At least I'm assuming. While this when this podcast posts, I may or may not be here, but this is where I live most of my time nowadays.
I love it. And we connected through the Connected Leaders Academy. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Yes.
Oh well, that was
Yes.
one of the places we connected. I feel like we've connected in multiple uh, locations and places just because we sort of run in the same circles.
Yes, and I love that. That's the power of just networking and becoming part of these communities that, just attach you to these amazing individuals that you can chat with, kind of grow with, collaborate with, and just build that authentic relationship. Well, with our group in the CLA, we're like 250 plus. So it's kind of hard to get on a virtual coffee these days with just us doing life. But I'm glad that, you were able to reach out and we connected, and we had our first virtual coffee last week, which was super amazing to get to know you more, get to know what you're doing, what your mission is. And thank you so much for accepting the invitation on BALM Global. So now you're part of the family. So thank you. Thank you. So we're going to start with just getting to know who Adam is. Where did Adam grow up? What was his life journey prior to entering this coaching space and this entrepreneurial space?
So, I mean, I grew up in mostly in a town called Newington, Connecticut. I had a lot of struggles growing up. I'm definitely somewhere on the neurodiverse spectrum. I have ADD. I have different learning disabilities that made learning very challenging. I also have a certain amount of um, physical challenges around coordination. So playing sports, activities, stuff like that was definitely a challenge for me. So a lot of the ways people connected and related were not available to me. So it wasn't until later in life that I really learned how to connect and engage with people. So all the things that people sort of just learn naturally, I had to develop and sort of discover and engage with. So it gave me more of a conscious awareness of different tools that people just normally use without even thinking about them. So it allows me an ability to really connect into offering building blocks and systems to help people engage with one another and deepen their intimacy and connection with others.
So, thank you so much for sharing that and being vulnerable with us and telling your story about that, because sometimes it's not easy to really share that. We feel like, as entrepreneurs, we have to have it all together, and this naturally comes to us, but we decide and we make that choice to either let it defy us or define us, or we make the choice to use it as a strength, as leverage. And that's what I feel like you did. Thank you so much for pointing that out. And what were some of the challenges and barriers through that growth process, through that awareness, that, how was your mindset, and what really led you to say, what, I'm going to do this regardless of, what I've been told about, this development?
So what I actually have to say is my journey is very different than a lot of other people's. Most people have this idea that when you're wounded and challenged, you should sort of just develop internally with this strength and power. But for me, my journey of growth and healing started entirely externally. I needed validation and redirection from all these amazing mentors that I connected with, all these amazing people. I was ostracized, shamed, attacked, and I needed other people to tell me what I originally wasn't, what I originally was told about my limitations was accurate, but it doesn't limit other things. So I believe in honoring our limitations and then sort of embracing those areas that don't have the accurate caps that we have, rather than trying to press against the caps that we have, the limitations that we have, which is very different than how a lot of other people function. But I find that when I work with my clients, allowing them and giving them permission to say, I can't do this, so I'll do this instead, is actually extremely empowering, because
Mm.
it's like we're not given permission to be limited in something. We're like blamed and attacked. It's all about effort and stuff like that. So for me, there were so many challenges because I was telling to people, I can't do this. And everyone is saying, yes, you can. You're not trying hard enough. You're not putting enough effort. You're not doing these things properly. And then it developed into my hating myself because I knew there were things that I was unable to do that everyone else around me was capable of. And trying to explain to someone that I was unable to do it, not through my choice, but through actual, real biological, neurological deficits, was impossible. And so I finally ran into certain people who got it. I went to massage therapy school. I got engaged in Reiki and alternative and holistic medicines. And I found these amazing mentors that helped me realize, yes, those are accurate, true limitations to learning in this specific way. My memory retention for what I read is less than 10%. No matter how much I want to hold on to it, it goes. But my ability to engage kinesthetically with processes, techniques, perceptive awarenesses is off the charts. So
Mm.
I had people supporting me and teaching me what to love about myself. I was only able to love myself through the direct and clear support of other people. There were people's voices that outshout the negative voices in my head. And then I became the person that works with people to outshout the negative voices in their heads. And I love it. It's what my certainty, my presence, my clarity is as powerful, if not more powerful, than that same negativity that was thrown at someone. Really around this idea of let's be accurate about where we are. We're not going to be too hopeful. We're not going to be too fearful. We're going to look at the present circumstances and where there's a naturally moving piece that we can attack and work with and empower and strengthen. And so that's what drew me into this work of coaching and working with people and helping families. I'm so passionate about helping families communicate with one another from a point of view where their language is not minimizing or attacking each individual person's value system. Because so much of our language, when we say something like, oh, it's so easy, do this, we're automatically minimizing someone else's struggle. It's not an intentional thing. It's just we're so connected to our own stuff. Sorry, I go off on
No.
these tangents and
Because
like
you're passionate about what you do. So I
I am.
totally get it. I'm glad, again, this is what I love doing. Why I love doing these podcasts and getting people's and different people on with different perspectives, and it really shines a light on that because I am that one so guilty of, oh, it's so easy. But for me, it does come naturally, certain things, and certain things that I can pick up. I'm like, well, I was always taught, well, if you don't try, you can't say that you don't know how to do it, right? So we do, as adults, as people that can do things normally, we take that, if we take advantage of that, and we probably don't even put it to use, right? Or we don't probably even find the ways to learn on how we can do it. So being a corporate trainer, in dealing with all ages, all diversities, and people that doesn't come with like a strong technical background in applications and systems and things like that. It could have been frustrating, but I knew that people learn differently. People are more hands-on. People are more audible. People are more like me. I went through college. Like, give me the material. I'm not sitting in your classroom. I'll teach myself, right? So it's just being aware of what you can do and how you can help. So I give 100% kudos to you for finding those blessings in your life and those individuals that really took the time to listen to what you were saying and being able to provide those tools that you needed to make it happen. And that's what we all as coaches, as just human beings, should do. Like when people are really struggling, let's take the time to find out what's really the struggle, what's really behind it. Is it fear? Is it just something that it's in the mind, or is it truly physical and emotional? And just really taking the time to find those things. So I'm glad that if you go on a tangent, I'm going to go on a tangent, because I'm 100% feeling exactly what you're saying, and I totally have to agree. So thank you so much for sharing that, and for opening just another light in someone else, and seeing for someone else to see a different perspective of when we're dealing not only with counterparts, with coworkers, employees, managers. People are very different, and we have to understand and take the time to get to know people. Don't just assume that it all, right? It's always a learning curve. It's always something just magical that happens when you really take time to just listen, and then you can make those decisions. So you said you love working with families. So what is it? When was that turning point where you started to create um, your journey? When did you say, okay, now it's my time. I'm going to put what I've learned together, and what ultimately came out of that? Like, what was the product of exactly what the Clearest U is, and how was that birth?
So it really came down to realizing I have a very unique intuitive perspective when it comes to people, because I spent so much time on the outside. I can really pay attention to all these different cues that I'm not even fully aware of. Like I don't really necessarily know um why I know the things I know, but I leap to conclusions to speed through, to test theories, to really work with people quickly. Some people need a lot of research and certainty and stuff like that. And so it just was a natural outgrowth of I because I experienced so much trauma myself. My first engagement with people was I'm dating myself, and I don't know if you're even of an age. I feel like you're younger than me. Where you remember AOL? Do you remember
Yes,
AOL?
yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
so one of the first things about that. So I had severe, awful, horrific social anxiety. People just in general, I'd walk into any place and I was like, who's going to attack me? I know they're going to do it. Like, I'm just waiting for it. And I was hyper vigilant. Like, everything was really super scary for me. AOL was a place where the anonymousness of the situation, because you were just literally behind a keyboard, nobody saw your face. There was no way to really for people to engage or know anything about you. I started hanging out in a chat room that I built called Good Listener. You basically set up, for those that don't know, you set up like an individual chat room, and people kind of come and visit you. It's kind of like Clubhouse nowadays, except it was only like type. And so you type out different messages and you'd connect to people. And I found that I was able to really hold space for people and really help them feel listened to, heard, and seen. And that was sort of the first growth of that. And that was back in like 99, 2000. So this is over 20 years ago. And then I met people, connected to people, had someone recommend that I go to massage therapy school because it was a way I could heal and help and make people feel safe. And so I engaged with that. As I said, then I engaged with Reiki and all sorts of other metaphysical, theological, different philosophies. And I really love learning. And I kind of take the approach of I don't know the truth for even myself, much less everyone else. So I just work with what I connect with. So a piece of that is a piece of that just it just started growing, and I started connecting to more and more people, and it became more about offering advice and support and suggestions more than actually doing body work, helping people engage with their power. And this is the biggest thing that I found. I want to share it with your audience is that some people don't realize by seeking a peaceful path, they are actively preventing themselves from healing. And I know that that goes against what some philosophies talk about, but those people that are truly wounded sometimes need to be equally as powerful as their wounds. So peace isn't actually enough. They actually need to engage with a level of empowerment, with a warrior energy to know that they are powerful enough to keep themselves safe. And
Mm,
so that's a big thing that I really talk about, that I engage with, is this idea of, are you walking into your work in a safe place, your home, your family, all these different things? And are you paying attention to what you need for those things? If whatever environment you're in is not safe, a portion of your energy is always going to be expended on hyper awareness, some level of hyper vigilance. So you won't be able to bring 100% or even like usually 50 to 70% forward into other things, because you always have that piece that's constantly needing to be fed energy. And
mm,
so I know that a decent amount of your people focus on the professional end of things. So I just kind of want to say we're living in an era now where in the workplace you're going to have to learn to be able to navigate each person's unique neural pathways, the way they function. If you can start honoring rather than directing where someone is, you'll create a lot more cohesion in
mm,
your experience. Really being able to kind of honor that and engage with that. And that's what I really learned to do more than anything else. When someone tells me something, I start out by saying, good, we know where you're at. Not, oh no, I'm going to disagree with you at where you're telling me you are. I know better than you do where you are in these different ways.
that's
And
good.
I've seen so many coaches and so many people that I've worked with shame other people by kind of saying that.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is just I don't know who's hearing it or who needs to hear it or who's feeling convicted right now. But that's so true. It's really, I mean, as a coach, we're coaching other people and we're expecting them to not know, what they don't know, right? And we have to understand where they're at, and we can assume that they need to be at a better place even if we know them personally, like, man, you should know this, girl, you should know this, you should be way ahead of the game. Why are you not? Instead of saying, okay, well, what are we missing here and how can we fill those gaps so that you can finally get to where you're where you want to go. So again, another highlight, another awareness of what's going on. And I'm loving the fact that you're really diving deep into that aspect of the coaching, because I think that's totally needed. I don't think I've ever experienced from my coaches or coaches that I know, where they ever um, made someone feel like that or made me feel like that. But I know of people that have been to coaching of people that I don't know, that they're like, man, I should know this. I should be ahead of the game. And
So I've engaged with you only in your professional persona, but
mhm,
I feel like there's always been a part of you that's appropriately and accurately suspicious and severe about others. So you would naturally avoid those people. I'm sadly Someone who has a weaker self identity might really listen to and be vulnerable to people that are more manipulative. Whereas you're probably not going to be someone, just based on my experience of your energy, you're going to see that coming a mile away, even when you were probably younger, where you really just saw that aspect. You saw someone that was full of crap. It was just a natural, inherent self identifier for you. But the truth is a lot of those people out there that are in pain, their pain is so loud and they're so desperate that they're not really even sure where to go. And then someone reaches out and says, well, I can help you with that. But then they're helping based on a singular system
Mm,
rather than really holding space for, okay, where is someone at? What do they really need? Like I can't tell you the amount of clients after really hearing them, I have to refer them out to someone else because they're not my person.
yeah.
And I don't know a lot of coaches, sadly. I mean, yes, those of us that are, I guess, maybe percentage wise, having met so many hundreds of coaches, a lot of them, now we're very specific in the CLA. So a lot of us there are really high end, like clear coaches. But there are a lot of people just trying to start out and not really aware of how they're impacting their clients. And so these are things that I want people to hear and know and understand. Like, the first thing is, when you sit with this person, are you like, yeah, you talk to them for 15 minutes, yes, this is my person, or, well, I kind of think maybe, if you're getting anything like that, run for the hills.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't, if you're working with someone, don't, if you're, unless you're getting real diamonds or real gold immediately, they're not for you. Move on.
Yeah.
Like,
I
just
love that.
go.
I love that. You know why? Because that's why I have so many coaches in my circle, because I can quickly, and I do these podcasts for the same reason. I can quickly say, if I see someone, like I'm talking to someone, I'm having a virtual coffee, it might not be a sales pitch initially, but if I know that I have another coach that can help this person get to exactly where they're at, I'm going to refer them to that coach. Like,
Right.
that's so true. So thank you so much for pointing that out. This has been amazing so far. So we're going to take a quick uh listen to one of our sponsors, and I am super excited. I am floored just on these topics that you're hitting on, that we really are going to continue to hit on in just a moment. Thank you so much, Adam. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world, globally, all across the country, high performers, titans of industry. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, this is where you want to be. Join the Connected Leaders Academy today. We are scaling massively. We want to welcome you in. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JASCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Hello, hello. Welcome back. We are here with Adam Latin, an empowerment and personal communications coach. We have just been having a blast just talking about new ways, new techniques as coaches or as entrepreneurs to really see that there are gaps and holes throughout what we do, and that it's time to fill them in with those things. We're doing amazing, great things, but it's really time to listen to that client, or listen to ourselves, our intuitions, and what's going on. So he's all about the clearest you. So we were just talking about when we are talking to what we think are our potential clients, but we kind of have that that gut feeling that we may not be able to serve them at 100% capacity, or they're not going to get value on what we're teaching, or the mindset is just not aligned. And it's okay to say no. It's always going to be like an interview process, right? We just don't want business. We want to genuinely help others. So let's continue with that, Adam. And why is it that you have, what experiences have you had where you had to kind of turn away someone that maybe was seeking your services?
So, I'll give a couple of examples. The one I love the most, though, because I know the result of it, is actually one I'm going to give as an example as when I was a massage therapist. So I worked with a client who came to me, and she said she's worked with a few people before, and she was saying that she worked with these people for over a year, and her results were just palliative. She wasn't actually getting any change or any healing. And so I said, "How long were you working with?" I'd asked her while she was saying she'd worked with these people. She hadn't told me how long yet, but she said she worked with these people for a year. And I was actually really offended for her. I really felt like that was way too long to be working with someone and not getting anything other than super temporary results. So I said to her, "You realize that's way too long and way too much money to be investing in someone. We'll work together for a few months and see how you do." I think we had 4 sessions or 5 sessions, and she was saying that she felt better afterward, but everything just kept on coming back. I said, "You know what? I'm not the person for you then. You need to go and find someone." And I get a letter from her at the place where I was working out of 6 months later. And she said, "Thank you for telling me to leave faster from all these people. I eventually found a Taoist healer that was authentically and accurately able to help me." And I was so excited for her. It was so powerful. I also work in cooperation with certain clients because I do a lot of deep trauma work. Some things are really too deep to be done through communication or physical techniques or stuff like that. I have a hypnotherapist that I work with that really helps some of the clients over these hurdles that then allow us to work together again afterward. But like I have resources that I have to send people to because I'm not the right person for them. I have clients that are Buddhist in nature and they really need somebody who works from a place of peace. And as I've stated, I'm all power. Like I just work with power. So I tell people that are going to functionally be healed that way. There was a Buddhist temple that I used to work in. I would send them there to find healing and connection in that location. There's all sorts of different ways that I would support people in finding the direction that was right for them. It's so important to understand what someone individually needs is what they need. No matter how we may want to help them or support them, there are just some things that it, there's a singular answer, and it's not us.
That is just straight awareness, just true leadership in your own right, just doing exactly, what you were missioned to do. It's to help. And if when you realize that, that is not what you can do for a particular someone, but you have the resources, that's why it's so important. That's why it's so important to attach and get connected. Can you? Okay, I'm back. So hopefully I don't get another call. That's what happens when you turn on your do not, or when you don't turn on your do not disturb. So I apologize. Um, but yeah, so where was I at? And I think we can.
You were saying how important it was, I'm assuming, to network and have peers and
Yeah,
coworkers.
absolutely have resources for, and you know what, it can be in the same space. I believe there is enough for everyone to definitely go around. I'm a coach. I have people in the industry of law, in the industry of accounting, in the industry of other coaches, whether it's I'm more leadership mindset, build your business from the ground up. But if you've already built your business from the ground up and all you need to do is scale and do social media and marketing, I have those coaches that I can refer you to. If you need time with organization, if you need, a routine, even though I'm going to give you the basics in my course anyway, you always should be very resourceful. Any entrepreneur knows that, to have your list and be able to combine and collaborate those opportunities, so that again we are serving our community and our generations to come with the proper tools in order to be successful in this life, and just being aware of everything, every aspect of our lives. So thank you for that. That's great, great insight. But your passion, our families, and that open communication. Tell us a little bit more about your experience in that space. And I think you shared with me about a particular family, and what
Yes, I'll tell that
magical
story.
stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what magical stuff you
So,
found there.
you know, it used to be, especially within a family unit, that they were the biggest influence over who someone became. It was most likely that uh, if your father was like a blacksmith, you'd most likely do that. Maybe you'd kind of separate, but nowadays, with how much we have such a diverse information, we've now become truly unique. And there's usually a threshold of where I say usually about 8 or 9 years old, where kids start developing their own unique value systems, whether we like it or not. And what really helped me hone in on this was I was working with a client who had two daughters that one was around 19, the other one was about 21, 22. And so the way she was really struggling because she wanted to be a kind, generous, warm parent, but she was struggling with so many things internally around how different her child's value system was. So what we first did is we put a name to her child's value system. Um this was the older daughter who really valued admiration. She wanted to be admired. She was big into like the whole social media stuff and doing acting and different types of things. And she was taking responsibility for finding her way there. But the mother's value system was character, was family, and how you treat every person you engage with. And the other daughter just couldn't care about those things. They just weren't an important aspect of her value. What the mother didn't realize is that because the older daughter didn't value those things, she was afraid for her long-term life and livelihood. She was terrified that without the value of character that she would not be able to move forward, not be able to afford her life, not be able to do these things. And I had to explain to the mother that in actuality, at least for the moment, admiration is more of a respected value system in our culture, and that she's actually more likely to succeed and be financially stable as a result of the value system she developed versus the one her mother wanted for her. As soon as I was able to explain that, it reduced the amount of um uh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean admiration, I mean adoration. But it reduced the amount of fear and allowed the mother to communicate from a position of saying, I know and see you have your own value system. I'm going to learn to be supportive and not make comments of judgment around what you're doing. I just want you to know and understand your choices bring out fear in me around being financially responsible for you. And that's really triggering for me. So I want you to follow your dreams, but I cannot be someone you rely on if things don't go the way that you want them to. So that was adoration for the older daughter. Then we got to start talking about the younger daughter, and the younger daughter wanted admiration, basically being respected within her field. She was really on a corporate path, something she was really excited about. And her mother, as I said, was this kind of more character driven, kind, not really understanding the need for severity and all these different things. they're sometimes required in these particular cultures. The younger daughter was already in school, doing successful, really building her life, but it again created this uh, sort of chasm because of the fact that the value systems were so different. And it led me to realize what I really, and I've started being able to do this, but like what I'm really passionate about is working with a family unit, no matter the size, for those people that are willing and receptive to help explain someone else's value system to everyone else. Now that we have things like Zoom and stuff like that, we can actually have like a family of like 6 kids and 2 parents, or even now because we have so many blended families, like 4 parents and, you know, 8 children. Like we can work with all those people together, and I can help identify and expose how someone learns, how they value different things, how they're motivated, what techniques are going to work, what techniques are going to create more disruption, so that they at least have the information. They have to be receptive and willing to use it, but at least the information is there. And so many people don't have the words or language because they're just kind of taught that either you click or you don't. And so they're not used to kind of engaging with these techniques. That's one of the things that I also work with very strongly with couples. Is most couples, if I say to them, give me a list of what your spouse makes, what actions, words, language, physical touch, whatever it is, makes that spouse feel most cherished, they would give a list of information that they were taught by someone that isn't even that person.
Mm.
And so as a result, there's not that cohesion. There's not the building of a bond. It's like, well, you build a bond by going out to dinner and interviewing one another. How often does that actively build a bond between you and another person?
Not too often.
And like, so it's some of these things that we think need to really be stepped back and look at for accuracy.
Yeah.
And that's why I use the word accurate, because when you look inside yourself, like, what is accurate to you? What is accurate? Is a thought process accurate for you? And equally, externally, am I accurately viewing this person? Yes, I know that you hope for A, B, C, and D, and E for this person, even if they don't hope for it themselves. But what are they actively working toward? What are they actively doing? How are they actively engaged? And so, um, I'm really strong on using very specific language and teaching people how to use language, the English language, to further the possibility of connection. Because some people just can't receive connection, no matter how much they want to. And so we have to identify what's possible and what's not, again, accurately. Because I'm big on feeling what other people feel, and the amount of disappointment, regret, and resentment that our culture is experiencing on a daily basis around so many different things is horrific to me.
Yeah.
It's awful. And there, within that lies an aspect of shame and all these other things that I want to work together with myself and people that I respect and engage with to root all of that out and to really bring that into the light of day so it can disintegrate. Like, I'm super passionate about it. I'm super like connected to this idea of like, let's be accurate more than anything else. I know that people are being authentic all over the place, and that's an okay word, but you can be authentically yourself and not at all accurately yourself,
Mm.
because there's a level of like, yes, this is who I believe I am, so I'm authentically presenting based on my beliefs, but when I really look at it, it's not who I am at all.
Mm. That's powerful. That's powerful. You can actually tell your passion just seeps out of you just effortlessly. So you can definitely pick that up in conversation. I felt that when we first connected, and I'm like, oh my God, like this is totally a different perspective. Not that I have not heard it, but definitely
Right.
not have heard it in the way that you have expressed it. And even more so today on this podcast, which I absolutely love. So if you haven't been taking notes, rewind, take them again, because this is some golden stuff that you are dropping here. So we are almost at the end. How can people get a hold of you? How can people connect with you? And what
Yeah.
are your final words for our audience today?
So, um, obviously, there's a little thing down at the bottom which has my email, which is great. So it's the clearest U at gmail.com, or you can text me at my phone number, 860-805-0482. You can connect with me on Facebook. I also, you can actually also connect through something called the Owl app, OWWLL, where you can ping me and connect with me and have like an actual session, um, if that's something you're drawn to do. But honestly, I'm excited to just be able to offer people these different ideas. And so I'm going to end with an exercise that was inspired through a different connection of mine that I recently had. So I want people to take a sheet of paper and write the words love, cherish, support, and celebrate across the top. And just draw separate like lines all the way down. And then write the names of the people in your life that fit into only one of the categories. So they can't be in multiple categories. So you have to try and say, what is the category that I receive the most from this particular person? And then if you realize none of the categories really fit for you, consider the idea of whether or not that person is healthy to have around in your life. The last thing within that to do is after you have that list, and I would like the list to be at least 10 people long in each category. And if you can't find 10, or if you don't have 10, find 10. Find 10 people for each separate category. And um and then tell them this quality that you bring into my life is what I appreciate the most from you. Tell them, oh my God, you're someone I realize I don't even know if I've ever told you how much I love celebrating with you. Or, oh my God, you're the person who just makes me feel so loved in general. Or, oh my God, like it's always so supportive communicating with you. Or, oh wow, there's such a just a deep level of being cherished that I experience when I spend time with you. And so that's kind of what I would like people to take off is to don't try and receive love, support, celebration, and cherishing from the same people.
Mm.
Each person is potentially somewhat multifaceted, but they're not supposed to be that multifaceted. So really find and let people be where they are. See what their accurate place can be given who they are now. Not who you want them to be, not what you want them to grow into, but accurately in the moment, this is what they are. And then if they themselves grow into becoming it, then shift that energy. But believing that just because someone loves you or cares about you or appreciates you, that they can fit into a different category kind of ruins the potential of a positive bond. And so I really want people to engage and connect from that place. And I know that I'm a bit long winded, so I hope that we're still within whatever time limit you have.
Yes, you are right on time delivering that great activity. I'm actually going to add that into the show notes. If you see my head down, that's because I was writing notes. being a host of this has been the absolute blessing and growth for myself and my journey, because I go back and I rewatch the stuff. But this one was a writer downer. Like right now, like I have to put these people in these columns and just see really where my connections are for each of these levels, because these are four major topics or four major levels of connections that you have with people. Like you can love someone, but you really don't cherish them. You can support someone, but you might not love them. There might be just like acquaintance. I celebrate everyone. I just do.
Hey,
At
that's
every
phenomenal.
level. So I'm going to just be honest with you on that one. But I
But do
will.
they celebrate you? Does everybody celebrate you?
Okay, so let me just get this straight before we get off. So this is how we see people towards us.
Yes.
See,
Yes.
I needed clarity. It just needed
Okay.
me to say that, right?
Yeah,
Adam,
no.
you have.
Yeah, no. How other people make you feel,
Mm,
not how you do other people, because you're a kind, warm, bright person. So you're going to do those things to the best of your ability for each individual. I don't care about that. I care about what you're receiving. What are you
mm,
receiving? And being clear on, are you receiving all those four things in your specific life? And I
mm,
want that for all my clients, all the people I meet on the street. I want that for everyone. So if you're realizing one of those columns is lighter than another, then look for, where can I create the opportunity to meet new people that will fill this column.
that's awesome. Adam, you have been an absolute blast. I have enjoyed every second of this podcast. Thank you so much again for accepting my invitation. We're going to have you back, because maybe I can go over some of my results with you, and we
Oh,
can
that would
do
be phenomenal. That would be amazing. That would be wonderful. Yes, thank you so much.
That is super awesome. But we'll definitely stay connected. Thank you, everyone. You need to go back and rewatch this quite a few times, because Adam has definitely dropped some major, major perspectives that we may have not adopted, that we should adopt like yesterday. So I just want to thank you and everyone for tuning in to another episode of Building a Leadership Mindset podcast. Again, as I always say, have a great day and make it count.